So what are the takeaways that we have from this year's Fancy Food Show? We're here live at Moscone Center in San Francisco. Remember that there's two Fancy Food Shows. In the winter, it's here in San Francisco. In the summer, guess what? It's in New York City. And both shows are significant, and significant for a lot of reasons. So my takeaways this time, I want to say certainly innovation, certainly a lot of plant-based foods than ever before, certainly more clean labels, but probably the most exciting part for me of this year's Winter Fancy Food Show is meeting the leadership of tomorrow. Getting these new entrepreneurs who some have never been in the food world before. You've met a lot of them over the past 3 days who have this passion, who have the desire to either save the planet or have great tasting food or a combination of both. And with me now, I've got a combination of both. So the product brand, I love this, is called SoulMuch. And Reyanne Mustafa has created this brand. Tell us about it. You're part of the whole seasoned chips up on the third floor here, which is a great place to be because that's where everybody goes for the new innovations. So tell me about, the product SoulMuch and why I should be out there buying it.
Yeah, so thank you for the introduction. So we are a cookie company with a mission-based company called SoulMuch, where what we do is we partner up with large-scale restaurants that oversupply on brown rice at the end of the night, and we take all of their excess brown rice that they've oversupplied on. It's already been cooked, and it's food that the chefs would have just otherwise discarded.
Right.
And that's where we go in and we rescue all of those grains, we dehydrate them, and then grind them up into a flour. And then with that flour, we're able to bake a different array of options, and we've primarily focused right now on cookies.
So what's interesting to me is not only are you helping to solve the food waste problem, and again, 40% of all food in this country is wasted,
Yeah.
whether it's at home, whether it's at restaurants, whether it's facilities, whether it's here, and Ron Tanner was just talking to us about their food recovery program that they'll be donating over 50,000 pounds to homeless shelters here in the Bay Area. But I'm assuming that your cookies taste great.
You got to go upstairs and try them.
Okay, I will. But tell me how you had the idea for this, and how did you develop the recipes, and the concept of taking this brown rice, and what other flavors are you adding to it? Can I get a chocolate chip cookie? Can I get a mint chocolate chip cookie?
Totally, yeah. So I often say that it was me and my co-founder, and I often say that we were not a cookie company seeking upcycled ingredients. We were workers in the food service industry seeking a solution to
So
this
that was your
problem.
background, food service. So what did you do?
We worked at a restaurant.
Okay.
And it started because we would see at the end of the night, we would see our chef throwing away these giant pots of cooked brown rice and quinoa. That was nutritious grain. And it was one night, though, in particular, when it had started, and we had seen our chef, and not even one serving had been taken out of it, and the restaurant had already closed, so he was preparing to throw it away. And I see him, and I scream, and I go, "Wait, chef, stop! Don't throw it away, I'll take it!"
Yeah.
And he turns to me like I was crazy, and he goes, "Ray, what are you going to do with 40 pounds of brown rice?" And to be honest, in that moment, I had no idea what I was going to do with it. I just knew I couldn't watch him throw away all that food. So the very initial idea that we thought to do was, hey, why don't we take it home? And I packaged them up in individual portion sizes. I paired up with my coworker, Chrissy, who had also voiced her frustration about the food waste problem, who later on became my business partner. And we literally went to downtown San Diego, and we just handed out quinoa and brown rice to people that we saw looked hungry or homeless. And as rewarding as that was, we realized it was not the most efficient solution.
Right.
So
you could only reach 20 people.
Yeah. So then we decided, and we ended up realizing that this problem was happening at P.F. Chang's across the street, and then Payway just down one more block. And then when we realized that this problem scaled way beyond just our restaurant, we were like, okay, we cannot keep turning a blind eye to this, and we felt like we had to do something about it. And so later on came the cookie company. And in terms of the recipe development, that just came out of interviewing people. I mean, we stood outside Sprouts and GNC stores and just really, I guess, guerrilla tactic. We just sat there and would sit in the protein aisle at Sprouts and be like, excuse me, if you don't mind me asking, why you're buying a Lara bar instead of a Cliff bar? What is it about the texture that you like? What about the flavors?
Very
and
clever.
that really helped us. We did that for about 5 months. And so we were able to really collect a lot of data and information doing that. And so we were able to tweak our mission. We were going to be a protein powder at first. Realized that the market's completely saturated, expensive to get into.
And now moving into insect protein.
Yeah.
So cricket powders in just about every bar that it is.
Totally.
So,
yeah, and then we decided, hey, let's just keep interviewing. Instead of trying to create something and sell that to people, why don't we find out what people want and create that? So we did over 900 surveys and we found out people want a healthy, convenient, on-the-go snack. Protein bars, we'd get lost in the shelf. And so we're like, let's do a cookie. It's a little bit more innovative. And let's be honest, how do you make food waste sexy? Cookies. Everybody loves cookies.
So let me take a step back to the source of the problem. So P.F. Chang's, the restaurant you were at, and so on. It's shocking to me to hear that a chef, and I don't know how big your restaurant was, but at the end of the night would have 40 pounds of brown rice that wasn't even touched. So that says to me a couple things. And no offense to your chef, because you might be good friends. How does he screw up to make 40 extra pounds of rice? And is this pervasive in the food service industry that they just, because of the amount of meals that they serve, the speed that people are demanding to get it, that they've just got to overcook so much stuff that it goes to waste?
Yeah. So, like I said, we thought this problem was just at our own restaurant, and then we realized that it was happening at almost every big chain restaurant. So from Payway to P.F. Chang's to True Food Kitchen, and I think that these big chain restaurants would just rather oversupply than undersupply, and for them, it's all about pleasing the customer. So they don't want a customer to come in 10 minutes before closing and not have any rice to provide them. So they would just have extra just in case. And yeah, it is really hard for people to imagine the scale of this tragedy until you're in it. I mean, we're on the food space now, but when we're explaining it to people, people are like, how can this be a sustainable business? We're like, we have more rice right now than we know what to do with. And we want to scale this model to other cities, but just in San Diego alone, it's enough to supply us what we need.
So I'm going to be very embarrassed at what I'm going to tell you. Okay. So when I was a teenager, I worked at McDonald's in New Jersey. So the rule at McDonald's then was we closed, I think it was at 11 o'clock at night, so that at 11 o'clock at night, whatever was left, we workers, and we were making, I don't know, $2 an hour, whatever it was, could take home whatever we wanted because they didn't want to discard it and stuff like that. So, and I hate to admit this, at 10 to 11 every night, we would make a tray of Big Macs, a tray of fish sandwiches, a tray of cheeseburgers, so we could all take it. So at least we were consuming it. Well, good luck to you. What you're doing is fabulous. I hope that you reach huge success with SoulMuch. Love the name, love what you're doing, and good for you.
Appreciate it.
And we look for you to become one of the leaders of the food world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, Phil Kafarakis, the CEO of Specialty Food Association, is going to be with us, give us a recap of everything that's gone over the past 3 days. Stay tuned.